ever heard of the Whispering Woods? Nestled deep in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, there lies a forest veiled in mystery. This dense cluster of trees is known as Whispering Woods, a place where, according to legend, the trees themselves are believed to whisper secrets to those brave or foolish enough to step within their realm. The whispers of the woods are no gentle rustle of leaves, but hushed voices, murmuring tales that echo through the forest, winding their way around gnarled trunks and beneath the shadowy canopy. The whispering trees are so named not for their audible voices, but for the stories they hold, the secrets they guard, and the mysteries they shroud. Now, the town of Cedar Hollow sits on the outskirts of these woods, its people living in the shadow of the whispering trees. The folks of Cedar Hollow are a superstitious lot, passing down the legend of the Whispering Woods from generation to generation, their voices hushed and their eyes wide with fear and awe. They warn their children about the forest, telling them to stay far away from its whispering trees and their secrets. But, as is the way of all things forbidden, the Whispering Woods draw attention, curiosity, and the occasional brave soul. The allure of the unknown, the thrill of the mystery, the lure of secrets waiting to be discovered, it all proves too irresistible for some. And among these curious few, there was a young woman named Emily. From her earliest days, Emily was captivated by the Whispering Woods. She would gaze longingly into the shadowy depths of the forest, yearning to uncover the secrets it held. Despite the warnings, the tales of those who ventured in and never returned, Emily found herself drawn to the whispering trees and their mysteries. Among those who were drawn to its mystery was a young woman named Emily. Emily, with her unwavering curiosity and her yearning for the unknown, would soon find herself stepping into the whispering echoes of the woods, daring to tread where few had dared before. Little did she know, her story was just beginning. Despite the warnings, Emily could not resist the pull of the forest's secrets. Like a moth drawn to a flame, the tales of the whispering trees and the enigmatic allure of the shrouded woods pulled at her adventurous spirit. She was determined to pierce the veil of mystery that enshrouded Whispering Woods, to hear the whispers for herself, and uncover the truth hidden deep within the forest's heart. On a night when the moon hung high and full in the inky black sky, Emily found her courage. She stepped into the forest, the trees towering around her, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers in a haunting welcome. A shiver ran down her spine, but she didn't let it deter her. Her determination was a flame that fear could not extinguish. As Emily delved deeper into the woods, the air grew denser, heavy with an ominous presence that made her skin crawl. The forest was alive, shadows flitting amongst the trees, playing tricks on her mind. She felt eyes on her, unseen watchers observing her every move. Her heart pounded like a drum in her chest, the rhythm quickening with each step she took. But Emily was not one to be easily frightened off. She pressed on, her resolve unwavering. The forest may have been alive, but she was its master. She was the one who dared to tread where others feared to go, the one who sought to uncover its secrets. Then, it happened. Just as her heart threatened to beat out of her chest, Emily stumbled into a clearing. It was bathed in ethereal moonlight, casting long, dancing shadows that made the scene feel like a dream. And there, in the heart of the clearing, stood an ancient oak tree. Its branches stretched towards the moonlit sky, resembling a skeletal hand reaching out from the earth. Suddenly, she stumbled upon a moonlit clearing with an ancient oak tree at its heart. The sight was breathtaking, eerie, and filled with an inexplicable sense of foreboding. It was here that Emily's journey truly began. It was here, in this moonlit clearing, that she hoped to finally uncover the truth behind the whispers of the Whispering Woods. Then she heard it, the whispers. The hushed tones were faint at first, barely distinguishable from the gentle rustle of leaves that danced in the cool night breeze. Emily paused, her heart quickening. Was this the secret language of the Whispering Woods that the townsfolk had spoken of? As she ventured deeper into the moonlit clearing, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. They seemed to emanate from the heart of the ancient oak tree that stood sentinel in the middle. Its gnarled branches reached up to the sky, a skeletal hand frozen in a silent plea. The whispers wound their way around her, a symphony of sounds that felt both alien and eerily familiar. The whispers were not just sounds, but voices. Countless voices that seemed to call out to her, beckoning her closer. The murmurs were a mix of fear, sorrow, and something else. A longing. A longing for what? Emily could not tell. But the allure of the whispers was undeniable. With a trembling hand, Emily reached out to the ancient oak. Its bark was rough and weathered under her touch, a testament to the centuries it had stood witness to. As her fingers brushed against the bark, the whispers abruptly fell silent, replaced by a deafening stillness that seemed to consume the entire clearing. The sudden silence was as startling as the whispers themselves. It was as if the forest had taken a collective breath, waiting in anticipation. Emily held her own breath, her heart pounding in her chest like a wild drum. The silence was oppressive, a heavy cloak that threatened to smother her. It was in that moment of profound silence that Emily realized she was not alone. She could feel the presence of something, or someone, in the clearing. A chill ran down her spine, the icy tendrils of fear wrapping around her heart. The silence was not empty, but filled with a presence that was watching, waiting. She felt a chill run down her spine as she realized that she was not alone. Out of the shadows, figures with twisted faces emerged. The darkness of the whispering woods seemed to coalesce, forming shapes that were as much a part of the woods as the trees themselves. Their faces were contorted, etched with an agony that seemed to span centuries. Their eyes were hollow, void of life, yet filled with an unspeakable sorrow. These figures moved with an eerie grace, their bodies swaying with the rhythm of the whispering wind. Their movements were jerky and unnatural, yet synchronized, like marionettes controlled by an unseen hand. They emerged from the misty veil of the forest, their forms solidifying under the silvery glow of the moonlight. Emily watched as they approached, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The whispers she'd heard were now a deafening chorus in her ears, a cacophony of voices that seemed to drown out all other sounds. The figures drew closer, their grotesque faces illuminated by the moon's pale light. They reached out towards her, their gnarled fingers extending as if to touch her. Panic surged within Emily, a tide of raw fear that threatened to consume her. She was surrounded, the figures closing in on her from all sides. There was no escape, no way out. The whispers grew louder, the voices more insistent. They filled her mind, crowding out her thoughts, her pleas for help. Desperation clawed at Emily's soul as she took a step back, then another. The figures continued their relentless approach, their whispers echoing in the still night air. She felt the cold, rough bark of the ancient oak tree against her back. The whispers seemed to pulse in time with her heartbeat, a relentless rhythm that pounded in her ears. Emily's breath hitched in her throat as the figures reached out to her. Their fingers were inches away, their whispers a deafening roar in her ears. She closed her eyes, bracing herself for the inevitable. She closed her eyes and screamed, but her cries were drowned out by the whispers. Her voice was but a single note in the symphony of voices that filled the clearing, a desperate plea lost in the chorus of the whispering woods. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, the whispers stopped. The silence was so abrupt, so complete, it was as if the forest itself had exhaled a breath it had been holding. Emily's heart pounded in her chest, a lone drumbeat in the eerie quiet. She opened her eyes, half expecting to see the grotesque figures still surrounding her. But they were gone, disappeared back into the darkness from which they had come. She was alone once again, standing in the moonlit clearing. The ancient oak tree loomed over her, its branches like skeletal fingers reaching towards the sky. It was as if the forest had returned to its normal state, but Emily knew better. There was nothing normal about whispering woods. The fear that had been a constant companion since she entered the forest now threatened to consume her. She felt it in her bones, a cold, creeping sensation that made her skin crawl. She was a trespasser here, a foolish girl who had dared to uncover secrets that were better left buried. With a final glance at the oak tree, Emily turned and fled. She ran as if the hounds of hell were at her heels, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The forest seemed to stretch on forever, the trees an endless sea of shadows. But Emily didn't stop running. She couldn't, not until she was safely away from the whispers and the figures they brought with them. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she emerged from the forest. The sight of Cedar Hollow in the distance was like a lifeline, a beacon of safety in the night. But even as she ran towards it, Emily knew she would never be the same. She had ventured into Whispering Woods and returned, a feat few could claim. But as she emerged from the forest, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had uncovered only a fraction of the truth behind the whispers. The secrets of Whispering Woods were far from being fully revealed, and Emily knew they would continue to haunt her, a chilling reminder of the night she had dared to listen to the whispers.